I'm finally giving my own truck some love today. It's a 2017 Nissan Frontier. You're going to need 6 quarts of 5W30. I'm using Amsoil Signature Series. You'll also need an oil filter. I'm using the matching Amsoil one. You'll need a funnel, some paper towel, a 10mm socket, a 14mm socket, and a drain pan and some ramps. And let's get started right away. First thing, remove the oil fill cap. Then going underneath the vehicle, you'll see the skid plate. Now there is a tiny little door here that you can take these bolts off and access through, but my hands are too big and I'm tired of cutting myself. So instead I'm taking the entire skid plate off, which is held on by these 4 bolts that I'm just showing you now, as well as the 4 bolts into the plastic from the bumper. So we're going to remove those first, and then the entire skid plate will come out. Another quick note is that I don't take the back 2 bolts out all the way. I just loosen them so that the skid plate can rest on them, which makes it easier to take out and reinstall. So once you've got the skid plate off, your oil filter's right there. These have been known to leak from the oil cooler, so you might need to replace an O-ring if you notice some oil seepage. But for the moment, we're just going to remove our filter. It wasn't on too tight. And Nissan made a really nice little oil drain galley, except it also leaks out the back, which you'll see here soon. So I was just taking it off, and I could have done it slower so I didn't get as much oil everywhere, but it was about to rain, so I just wanted it done. One of the reasons that I use Amsoil filters are they are really well built and they have really good anti-drain back valves in them. On these Frontier engines, you can get a rattle at startup, which is your variable valve timing cam rattling in the engine from not enough oil pressure, and having a good anti-drain back valve lets it not rattle. Once you get it seated, as you can see, once it's hand tight, turn it 3/4 to 1 full turn past that, and that's all you need for tightness. Next, when you go behind the oil filter, you'll see your 14mm drain bolt. So you'll remove that and let all of the oil drain out. Now I did use an engine flush on this. I've had some oil consumption issues, and the engine flush that Amsoil sells supposedly frees up stuck piston rings. So I'm going to test that claim out and see if my engine oil consumption continues or if it actually fixes it. You definitely want to replace the crush washer on these. So I make a slit with some cutoff pliers and just unscrew it. And I've got a bunch of these new crush washers. You put the flat side against the oil pan, and then the beveled side goes to the oil drain plug. So I just thread that on. Mine was a little tricky and stuck at the end, but once you thread it back into the oil pan, it turns out no problem. So again, reinstall your oil drain bolt, thread that in by hand, and then tighten it down with a ratchet. Reinstalling your skid plate is as easy as it was taking out. I try to put the front in first to get it hooked on those back 2 bolts, so that kind of holds it in place for me. And then you can just reinstall the bolts. So the Frontier takes 5 3/8 quart of 5W30 engine oil. So I'm going to add the first 5 pretty quick and then top it off with the last 3/8. Then once you've added all your engine oil, I just clean up really quick, put the oil fill cover back on, and that's all you need. So thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something today. I'll see you in the next video.